Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a date that holds profound global significance. February 21st, International Mother Language Day. Now, you might be thinking of this as a purely joyous, peaceful celebration of linguistic diversity. And it definitely is that today. But the origins? They were actually forged in profound tragedy. We're going to explore the urgent and honestly quite violent history that birthed this movement, look at how it's vibrantly celebrated today both in Bangladesh and worldwide, and then confront a somewhat uncomfortable paradox that still exists in the modern fight for language rights. Let's get into it.
To understand why people were literally willing to risk their lives over a language, we really have to go back to this single, uncompromising mandate. Back in 1947, British India was partitioned, creating the nation of Pakistan, which at the time was geographically split into West and East Pakistan. Just a year later, in 1948, Pakistan's founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, made this definitive declaration. It's truly startling to consider how a global celebration of peace and cultural preservation was actually born directly from the resistance and the bloodshed caused by this exact quote.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark, volatile contrast between the government in West Pakistan and the actual people living in East Pakistan. You had a government mandating Urdu as the sole state language for everything, education, public life, the whole shebang. But the reality on the ground in East Pakistan? Totally different. The vast majority of that population spoke Bengali or Bangla. Urdu was largely spoken by a minority of educated elites. So this wasn't just some administrative disagreement, it was a total erasure of identity that left a massive Bengali-speaking majority feeling completely disenfranchised.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the spark of 1952. Look at the ultimate sacrifice made. Check out the vibrant celebrations in Bangladesh, see how it became a global phenomenon, and finally, unpack the modern linguistic paradox. Section 1. The Spark of 1952. From Partition to Protest.
Well, you know, when a massive question around ethnic and linguistic identity just gets completely ignored, it very quickly morphs into a full-blown human rights struggle. After that 1948 Urdu-only mandate, the Bengali-speaking population started organizing. Fast forward to early 1952, the Prime Minister visits Dhaka and essentially doubles down on the Urdu policy. Well, activists and students had enough. They announced a mass protest for February 21st. The government tried to crush it by invoking Section 144. This was a strict colonial-era law banning public gatherings, but thousands of unarmed students and citizens defied the curfew anyway, marching toward the Legislative Assembly. And tragically, by that afternoon, police opened fire on the crowd.
Section 2. The Ultimate Sacrifice. The Birth of Amor Ekushey.
Out of this sheer tragedy emerged this concept of Amor Ekushey, which roughly translates to the eternal 21st, and this became the absolute bedrock of Bengali nationalism. Almost immediately after the killings, a temporary memorial was put up to honor the fallen. Over time, that evolved into the Grand Shaheed Minar, or Martyrs Monument, which still stands today near the Dhaka Medical College. It's a physical structure that permanently cements the memory of those who literally gave their lives simply for the right to speak their mother tongue.
But behind these grand monuments, we have to remember there are deeply personal human stories. Take Abdus Salam, for example. He wasn't some radical politician. He was a cleric record-keeper working at the Department of Industries in Dhaka. On that fateful day, he joined the procession and was shot by the police. He fought for his life in the hospital, but tragically passed away from his injuries on April 7, 1952. And while the exact location of his grave in the Azimpur graveyard has been lost to time, his legacy is immortal. He's officially recognized as a language martyr in Bangladesh today, with libraries, stadiums, and even his own home village renamed in his honor.
The emotional weight of this sacrifice is permanently woven into the cultural fabric of Bangladesh. Just listen to these lyrics from the famous mourning song, Amar Bayar Rakte Rangano. My brother's blood spattered 21st February, I cannot forget. The tears of 100 mothers who lost their sons, can I forget? It perfectly captures that profound, localized grief. And it was exactly this shared grief that transformed a marginalized population into a mobilized independent nation, which eventually led to the creation of Bangladesh in 1971.
Section 3. Celebrations in Bangladesh. Honoring the mother tongue.
So how is this actually observed today? Well, February 21st is a public holiday in Bangladesh known as Shaheed Dibosh, or Martyrs' Day, and it is highly participatory and incredibly moving. Citizens engage in a barefoot walk to the Shaheed Minar, that central monument we just talked about. Dressed in beautiful traditional attire, they lay floral wreaths at the base of the monument, all while singing those exact mourning songs to recall the sacrifices of 1952. It's just a really powerful display of cultural pride and solidarity. But the celebration of language goes way beyond just a single day. Check out this staggering number, 6 million. That is the number of people who visited the Ekashie Book Fair in 2024. Organized by the Bangla Academy, this fair doesn't just last a weekend, it lasts for the entire month of February. It's this massive multi-genre event where publishers prepare all year to release thousands of new books. To put the scale into perspective, the 2024 fair generated a record 600 million taka in book sales. It is an absolutely spectacular tribute to the written word and the Bengali language.
Section 4. A global phenomenon. UNESCO and beyond. Let's look at how this builds.
The leap from a local observance in Bangladesh to a massive global one was actually driven by grassroots advocacy. Back in 1998, a Bengali Canadian named Rafiqul Islam, who was living in Vancouver, wrote a letter to the then UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan. He proposed taking real steps to save the world's languages from extinction by declaring an International Mother Language Day, and he specifically suggested February 21st to commemorate the Dhaka killings. Amazingly, his advocacy worked. On November 17, 1999, UNESCO officially proclaimed the day, and it was first observed globally in the year 2000.
Since then, this day has become a vibrant educational tool everywhere, particularly for children. Educators worldwide use February 21st to promote inclusivity, peace, and respect. Classrooms host multilingual story times. They set up cultural displays with diverse artifacts and encourage language exchange games where kids actually teach each other words in their own mother tongues. It's such an inspiring way to help kids appreciate the rich tapestry of languages that make up our world and to instill the value of linguistic diversity from a really young age.
Section 5. The Modern Linguistic Paradox. Rights for All.
And this brilliantly illustrates the dramatic, global, ideological shift we've seen over the last 70 years. I mean, we moved from that oppressive 1948 mandate of one nation, one language that sparked the tragedy in the first place, to themes like UNESCO's 2018 focus on preserving linguistic diversity. Globally, we now openly acknowledge that protecting mother tongues is vital for fairness, sustainable development, and education access. Yet, and here's the catch, this global commitment on paper doesn't always perfectly translate to reality.
So the crucial point here lies in this number, 36. According to sources like Ethnologue, there are 36 indigenous languages within Bangladesh today. But despite the nation's entire foundational history being built on fighting against linguistic oppression, Bengali remains the sole state language. Many of those 36 indigenous languages are now highly endangered, with very little presence in education, government services, or the judicial system. It's a complex paradox, right? The very country that proposed the Global Day for Mother Languages still struggles to structurally protect the minority languages within its own borders.
Which brings us to a really harsh truth about how languages actually die today. Linguisticide, or the erasure of a language, doesn't always look like violent police crackdowns on innocent students anymore. Today, it happens much more quietly. It looks like bureaucracy. It looks like state neglect. It's a system that subtly pits languages against each other in terms of value, where a child can't get early schooling in their native tongue, or a citizen can't access basic government services unless they speak the dominant language.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly vital question to reflect on. When we hear about the fight for language rights, are we demanding rights for all languages or just our own? February 21st is a powerful reminder that when a people's language is treated as disposable, they will resist. But true linguistic victory isn't just about winning recognition for one language, it's about ensuring that the bureaucracy and the neglect of the modern world don't quietly silence the rest. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it gives you a deeper appreciation for the true cost and the ongoing fight for the mother tongue. Catch you next time.